Hello and welcome to day 56 of the 1000 days of Nocode challenge. In the last couple of videos, we have understood how the backend workflow works, how do we run backend workflow on list of things, and we also explored how do we run recurring workflows from the backend. There is one more thing that we have to explore with regards to backend workflow, and that is to trigger workflows when there is a change in database, and this is called database triggers. Let's assume that you are building a project management application, right? And different people will change the statuses differently, okay? Somebody might create a new project, in which case the project status will be new. Somebody might change it to in review, and somebody else might mark it as complete. No matter whatever is the status of the project, whenever the status of the project changes, you want to run a workflow. Now you might add this workflow at the place where status is getting changed. In today's video, let's explore that. Okay, so to understand the database triggers, let's go back to backend workflow and click on plus. Now in general, we have a thing is modified, right? And this is how we initiate a database trigger. It's asking what is the thing that you want to run the backend workflow for. Is it when there is a change in user? Is it when there is a change in bookmark tweet? Is it when there is a change in tweet? Or is it when it is tweet like by? These are the data types that we have created. So if you go to data type, then we have created 4 types, and it is giving us option to choose from any of those. So let's select user. You can run this particular workflow whenever there is any change in any of the user's record. I'll create a new data type just to show you how this runs, right? So let's call log, right? And then we can create user, that is who is the user. And then we can have name, old name, type text. Let's say new name, type text. Right, so I'm just creating a very simple data type, which is log, and we are doing this to register whenever there is a change in name. Right, so in user we have name, and if there is a change in name, then we are going to trigger this. Okay, so I'm going to backend workflow again, and I am selecting user modified flow. I am going to create a new thing, and we are going to create log, add all fields. User is user now. Okay, now closely observe, we have something called user now and user before change, right? So old name would be user before change name, new name would be user now name. So what this basically tells is, if we have a database trigger added in the backend workflow, you get 2 variations of the same record. Okay, one is user before change and one is user now. Okay, that is after change. And you will be able to store the required data into the database, or you can do any other action. For now, we are just doing it with old name and new name, right? So I'll go to the data. I'm going to log, and let's go to app data. And you can see that there is no record available here. The beauty of database trigger is this will run even when we make changes directly from here. So let me go to the abcd@rit7.com user, right? And the name is Ritesh and Hegde. I'll change this to Ritesh Hegde. I'll make a small change in the name. Click on save. Okay, let's go to log, and you see that we have got the record created. The new name is Ritesh Hegde, while the old name was Ritesh and Hegde, right? So no matter from wherever you are making any change to the database, this will get triggered. Let me log into this user. So since we have made as agency plan, it will ask us for the username and password. So we have probably given UN and PW. So I'll click on sign in. And I'll go to tweet page where we have this profile section so that we can edit the profile. So now I'm going to change the name to Ritesh Nagesh Hegde, and then I'll click on save. Let's go back to log and you can see another record being created. So if you want to create logs for any change that's happening in a record, this is wonderful. It's not only for abcd@red7.com account, right? You can go to any record. So for example, let's say Joshua Lindsay, right? Alert ABC. Click on save. Go to logs. You will see a record here, right? The old name is Joshua Lindsay, whereas new name is Joshua Lindsay ABC. If you make any other change like the profile image or something like that, then that is not getting recorded in the logs because we have not enabled it. Let's say I'll go to this user and add a profile image. Now I've not made the change to name. I'll click on save, right? And if I go back to log, then you can see that old name and new name is same, okay? The image is not getting captured because we have not added that in the workflow, right? We have just added for the names to get captured. Now, there is one thing that we can do. If it is only for the name that we want to capture, then we can add a condition here, which is user now name is not user before change name. Okay? And when we add this condition, what happens is this workflow will run if and only if the name has got changed and nothing else. So I'll go back to the data. I'll go back to one of the users and let's say I will change this particular user's profile picture. So I'm adding the image again without making any change to the name. And if I go back to logs now, you don't see that getting created, right? But if I make any change to the user's name, okay, 1, 2, then logs will get created. You can see it over here, right? So this is the beauty of database trigger. I hope you will get a hang of it and use it wherever needed. And that's what is database triggers. As of now, because you are in the initial days of learning Bubble, the database trigger might seem overwhelming, or you might think like, what's the use case, right? Just understand that database triggers exist, and wherever you feel like, oh, no matter whatever changes in the database, I want to use this. There are multiple use cases of this, but we have not covered those things in the topics before. And that's why it's important that we do not think of it too much and just take this session as a learning. And just consider this video to understand yet another feature from Bubble. I hope you enjoyed it. And in tomorrow's video, we will cover something called recursive workflow. See you in the next one.